Okay, so anybody wants to share that what you did? Okay, great. So anybody wants to share?
Well, in our group, we kind of went right to the functional way to do that.
Okay.
But it was fun. I know I didn't have the REPL set up on the laptop I was showing, so I kind of did mine in WordPad or Notepad++. But yeah, I just did the enumerable between range thing, and then from that I did the select. There's a function called select, which takes all the values within an enumerable and allows you to apply a function on them. It's kind of similar to the map function in JavaScript or some other languages if you've seen it. And then from there, I just called return 3 times whatever the value was. I did a lambda function in there just so it was kind of clean. And then I casted that to an array because I didn't remember if we were trying to do this as an enumerable or an in array. So I did it as an array. But I don't know, it was kind of cool because I showed the idea of function chaining from the select, and then you did the lambda function, and then after that it chained to the to array. So it just returned you did a complicated sequence of events to go from the enumerable to a modified version or to a different result based off of the enumerable you did at first, and then also change the type at the end. But as the book talks about, the one of the benefits of doing this as functional programming is that you're not mutating the state of the original object. So the original enumerable that I worked with, after running it through the REPL, you can tell pretty demonstratively that it does not modify the object that you start with to do that set of chains.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. And really the first chapter really talks a lot about functional programming, but that's good that you did that. Is there anybody else without, we'll come to yours with functional paradigm in just a minute. Is there anybody else that would like to show what they did without and share their screen for me? Nobody wants to share the screen? Oh.
I can share mine, but all I did was the exact stuff that was listed in the PowerPoint.
No, I did not want that. I wanted you to write a non-functional, but that's in the PowerPoint. Anybody can copy paste it. Ooh, what's so great about it? Anybody that did it without the functional method. No? Okay, well, do you want to talk about what you did? Like Sam, I didn't see your code though. Can anybody, did you paste it into somebody's screen or something?
Let me see if I can bring it back up. Oh yeah, can I share my screen?
Yeah, so we'll come to you next, Daryl.
Okay. So all I did was I did a little example in Notepad++, and I just defined it within just an arbitrary main function. But you can see if you actually run these commands in the REPL, this will give you a valid result. You're creating a variable items. It's of type enumerable, and it's just all the numbers between the range, or all the integer numbers between the range of 1 and 4. And then here we've got a var result. And that takes items and does the select function. And here is the lambda where you where I'm actually returning back 3 times whatever value is being fed in. So you can think of this like 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going in, and out is going 3 times 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. Or 3, 6, 9, and 12 would be returned out of this. And in the example I did in the REPL, I just did a to array here, and just to prove that you could get this in the in array type. If you do that, it works. It won't throw any errors if you do that. But yeah, that's how I did that.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Daryl, do you want to share yours? Did we lose him?
Yeah, basically, I completely misunderstood and thought we were supposed to just test or try the code that you were displaying in the PowerPoint. So, and since I think I was the only one in my group that actually had the whole Visual Studio already pre-installed and set up.
Okay.
I was showing the other people.
Okay, so what did you show? Let's explain that to the rest so we all understand what you did. There's so many things you did here. Okay.
Oh, well, because I went through all of the examples.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, essentially what we did was we created the original triple function, grabbed the range, selected the triples, and then output it, which then, of course, shows you the fact that you're looking at a function with this enumerable data type, and this portion right here where select enumerable iterator shows that you're looking at just that section of the enumerable that meets that criteria, which outputs 3, 6, and 9. And then and of course, the first time around, just illustrate the fact that it showed the same output whether or not you were including the comment. I typed triples with the comment from the PowerPoint and without. And then again, the next section right here is exactly what was in the example, which of course outputs the integer array with 3 items,
Right.
7, 2, and 3.
Right. And
to show that
that's
in this case it was a mutable object. I mean, obviously these would probably be mutable as well, but this shows where you weren't following the functional paradigm, whereas in this case you are at the top.
correct. Correct. And you should not be doing, you should be following the functional paradigm and not do it this way. And that was the slide for it, which I would be talking about. But that's fine. Okay, great. Thank you. Anybody else did it any other way? We had 3 groups, so there should be another group. Thank you. So anybody wants to share this slide? I mean, share their computer screen. No? Okay. Well, so looks like, you went over that. Yes, Kenisha, do you want to share your screen?
No, I was in Daryl's group. I was trying to upload the Visual Studios. I'm still trying to get it together now.
Okay. So where is everybody? Has everybody had a feel of REPL? No, yes?
I'd say it's pretty nice.
Did you use it
helpful
already?
to get to test my code. Yeah, I used it when I was doing mine, but I wasn't able to show it in my example because
Right. Yeah, you told me that. Yeah. What about others? I want this from everyone. Where you are right now on Visual Studio. Either use REPL, no, installing, hooked
I'm
on.
currently installing.
Who is this? Fernando?
Yeah, I'm currently trying to install Ripple into my Visual Studio.
Okay. Also, you know that you can remote into the lab.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. What about the next person? I want this answer from everyone because this is so important that we all know where we are. Because that is important, so that next class, I could straight away give you an example to work, and I would make a bigger group and I give each of you a different problem to work, and work on it, come back and teach that class. Okay.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yeah.
Exactly. I see it's a lot that you can, I guess, have as add-ons. Is there anything specific outside of C# that I need to add on to the Visual Studios?
Well, you know what, the add-ons you can keep adding as we need.
Oh, okay.
So just add what you need for now, and we'll see. I think there's one time where we'll have you add other components if that's not added by default. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What about others? I need the answer. And that's part of your participation. You have to give me an answer. Okay, Akshay says he was not able to access remotely for. Why were you not able to access? What did you do? What happened? You
I
have to tell me
download the remote. I download
Yeah.
the remote file and then I entered my username and password, like my email, my USCL email, but it didn't let me in. And I think I will have to figure it out later.
You use the Cisco connection, right?
Yeah,
Did
I
you
follow
use?
the steps,
You
but
followed the instructions. Okay.
yeah, I think later I will have to like try again.
Okay. Okay.
Else I will like get the parallels on Mac and try to install the Windows on MacBook. I can do that too.
Okay. If you can, that's great. I really am sorry. I have had problems with, student doing Mac, and so I just, it's kind of a little difficult for me to handle different situations. So if you cannot, the best thing is just remote into the lab.
Yeah, I will
And
try that later and
yeah,
go through those
that's
exercises.
because you have to do the assignment for next week, um, and um, and you might not do it in REPL. That's fine, but we have to have REPL going because we will have to keep going with this class next week, and so REPL has to be up there. And this is uh, you know, really the second week or third week, so we have to have REPL going. Okay. Yeah, but
Yeah,
do holler or email or get with your TA if you cannot. She has her office hours tomorrow from 2:30, right? Is that Monica? Is that right?
Yeah, 2:30 to 5:30.
Yeah. So she has her office hours. The Zoom link is there on Blackboard. So maybe you can remote with her and share and see, if you have still issues with it. Okay,
yeah,
what
sure.
about yeah, what about
Thank you,
others?
Professor.
Sure. So I see that Shilpa says that she has a MacBook. Yeah, I know we had issues with Mac. So try the remote access, and if you cannot get with your TA, get with Monica. If nothing is working, email me. So we have to get this solved this week because you have to do your assignments, okay? And then later on, when you come back to class next week, we want you to work in groups when I give you little exercises to work, okay? Because that is so important. I just cannot tell you that this work as you could, if you work more on exercises now, you get it clear, and later when we do mapping and all that, it becomes really easy to get that concept. Okay. Okay. What about the others? I want to know exactly where you are right now.
I recently downloaded everything. Just putting the environment theme right now.
Okay. Okay. Again, same thing. If somebody is not able to finish it today and might not be able to, mm, you can get in touch with Monica during her office hours at 2:30 tomorrow, 2:35. Okay. What about others? I haven't heard back from everybody still. Armir, where are you? I didn't hear anything from you. I didn't hear anything from Michael. Amia, where are you? Patricia, where are you? Pawan,
Yeah, I'm here.
Kaitan. Yeah, where are you? Meaning, where are you in the Visual Studio world?
Oh no, yeah, sorry. I thought I mentioned that on our group breakout. Yeah, I can access Visual Studio via the remote lab.
Okay. So were you able to access were you able to open up REPL and see how that environment looks like, how that screen looks like?
Correct, I can. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay. Wesley, do you have already Visual Studio in your laptop, or you want to remote it?
I got it in my laptop already.
Okay, and you have logged into REPL, or do you need some help with it?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Okay, so I'll share my screen in just a minute again, so that for those that haven't or don't remember, will have a chance to look. Saitaran, what about you? I didn't hear from you.
I recently downloaded the Visual Studio and everything packages, the C Sharp,
Okay.
which is used to write the codes program.
Okay, so you are doing the REPL now? Are you able to log into REPL? Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, I just downloaded and it's asking for restart. So when I finish my class, so
Oh, okay,
I,
okay.
I
Okay,
restart it and I get access from the Ripple and everything. I'll do it later.
okay, okay. Okay, so Daryl has something for the Mac users. Go try it and see if you can. That's good. Thank you. Okay, so I heard, oh, your audio isn't going.
Professor, if I can share my screen.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. You have the permission. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if you can see this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is what I did because I didn't know what the test was exactly, and I didn't hear from the group. So it's what I did is initialize these two, I do a for loop, an if statement, and I got the 369. Okay, this is all
Okay,
I
so
saw
okay.
at the presentation. I didn't know exactly what you were looking for, so I just did this. I don't know if this is correct or no, but I think it's like
Yeah,
the
it is.
standard way.
It is
I just used
correct.
the module here, and it just shows the 369, and I made the
Right.
border up to 10.
Right. So that is correct, and you're using Mono. That's good. I want to see how Mono works with really writing one-line codes. It should work. I have heard it works well, but so I want you to try that and see,
Okay.
and let others
Yeah,
know how.
because I
Mono
wasn't sure about the test, that's why I didn't unmute myself and talk. So
that's fine. No, you're good. That's good. That's good. You did that way. And the slides later on has the answer as to how you do in when you're doing in a functional mode, and I can pull up that if you all want me to. Or it's pretty. I think it's pretty narrative
okay,
as to
thank
where
you
it
for that.
is. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so Daryl has all this information for you all, and if you want to copy paste it and keep it for yourself, that's fine. If you want me to put these chats up on, I don't know if I can remove the private chats, so that's why I don't put them up on Blackboard. But you know, you can copy it. You can copy those commands for you to use. Okay. So. Any other questions do you have for me? So what I would really like to do is get you started. So for the next week, really, we will start writing small snippets using a REPL on. We'll use REPL and write programming. Because, we're going to talk so. I'm going to talk so. There is one example which I can show, and we can do that next week, which you will see. I see Daryl talking about parallel programming, and you will see how what a mess it creates if you don't use functional paradigm. Okay, but there's no rush. We will get into it. I think we are in a good shape for now. Would you want, what do you want from me right now? Tell me. I had some, wow, okay. I had some problem solving, but I think I'm going to wait until next week to do these problems. Shilpa, did you have any problems for them?
Sorry, Professor, I didn't get you.
Do you have, no, oh, sorry, Shilpa. Monica, did you have, I'm sorry, Shilpa, it was not you.
No, it's okay, fine.
I think I'm already hungry, maybe. Monica, do you have some problems for them? Do you want to
Yeah,
solve any?
Yeah, I just have some basic problems like adding two numbers and greater for the two numbers. So
We haven't talked about the syntax yet.
yeah.
So, okay. So one thing, is there a path from going from int to an enumerable int? What does that mean?
So some context for my question is there an easy way to go from an int array to an enumerable of ints back to an int array? Because just as some background, like if you're doing like some like coding challenge type problems, a lot of them will be given to you in one type and you're expected to go back to another type. So like a lot of the platforms that I see will typically ask, here's an int array, give me back an int, or give me back another int array. So if there's an easy way to convert from int array to enumerable in C#, then I could probably do some more problems pretty easily.
I haven't tried that, but I can try that and let you know.
Okay. I'll look into it too, but
yeah.
Just thought it was a good question to ask.
Yeah, that's a good question. So Daryl has something where he's doing a sum type and he's doing the type of.
Oh, you can just cast like that?
Yeah, so the casting can always be done. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The casting can always be done, but again, you're making it mutable, isn't it? Because you're casting into. So that is a no thing in functional paradigm. Casting can always be done. So nothing from your object-oriented programming, your procedure-oriented programming goes away. We still have them, but changing from an enumerable to an int won't it make it again? Yeah, I know. He wants to keep casting from one to the other, and you can do that.
I like that answer, honestly, though. At least for what I'm using it for, not specifically functional programming.
Yeah.
That helps.
Right. Yeah, that can be done. And that's I don't think that's any part of functional programming, but enumerable is in the LINQ list, and which was in C# even before they tried to say it's functional. So yeah, that's good though. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have questions coming. Make sure that when you're doing some casting, you are really muting. You are mutating. You want it to be not mutable. So if it's immutable, if you do casting, somebody at the other end, when they are going to integrate a component, they might not know at what state that variable is. So make sure those things when you're doing it, okay? That might go against your your functional paradigm, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. If it's required, we do it. Okay. Yes, Patricia, did I cut you off?
No, sorry. Yeah, I actually had a discussion with my teammates about how we did the functional versus the imperative, and
Mm-hmm.
now it leads me to think that if you do, going back to the topic of mutability, and in functional, the they're immutable. Now if you do create like new introduce variables at each time, is that a hack to make your your program immutable? Like for example, you start with x is equal to 1, and then
Mm-hmm.
next step you want you want it to add another 1, then you make y is equal to something, 1 plus 1 or x plus 1, and now
Mm-hmm.
you the answer y. So I know that's like very basic, but if you just keep creating new variables, does that make your program functional?
It does, because it is keeping the characteristics of what we call as functional paradigm. In fact, when we do the linked list, okay, I know you told me a basic example, but I'm just getting into the linked list area. When we do linked list, we're going to create one list, the initial list, let's say of 2 or 3 or 4 uh, um, you know um, objects into that list. And then let's say we want to recreate a list which is specific to something. What we will then do is we will create a new list and add stuff from it. And this new list will have stuff from the original list, and add new stuff to it, and will create, and this the newer linked list name, that like you said, y, will really have everything from x, and plus it will add something from something to itself. So uh, that is immutable, because you, at any point of time, I can say what the value of x is, I can say what the value of y is, no matter what. So as long as you are not changing the state, it is functional.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So if that's
Mm.
the case, you could really like functionally program in any language then with that.
You can,
Okay.
you will see that what happens really is when we get into the real functional programming features. If if for example C sharp does not have a lot of things which we would like to do with error handling, we will not do try catch here in C sharp using functional programming. Okay, so what happens in try catch is you are pushing the control somewhere like a go to. It's really a go to like thing, and I do not know what's going to happen. The program might just crash suddenly, saying, "Wow, we are dead because something wrong happened." So what we will do is we will pull in other APIs or structures which we have to add to our program, and that will handle the functional way of error handling. We will do that when we get to the second part of this course, okay, the engineering too. So we will get into the depth of how you can make it functional, even if it's not a functional paradigm language. And that's why, C sharp isn't, and you will be making it. There's going to be a lot of additions of a lot of code into it uh, as packages, but it still will work, because those packages will help you work but make it functional.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So when I was thinking of the package, there are really, the casting can really be added in a package. whereby you can have you can make a package whereas to does casting from one to the other, and then in the program really you are just changing from one to the other. And although it's again mutable, sorry, no, take it back. I'm just thinking about check casting to see if I could really have a reason to use it and say it's still functional.
If you're casting into a new object or a new variable, wouldn't that still be functional as long as that variable itself was never changed?
Yeah, but yeah, that would be as long as that variable isn't changed. Yes. But then yeah, that is if you're casting into a different variable or object, yeah, and if that is not changed, that would be, and which means that object or that variable will be declared as an int array, and this variable, whatever that variable is, will be an enumerable or whatever that type is. Yeah. Well, we will be doing some casting though. We are going to do some casting, but I think so. I think so. It is doable now that I'm thinking about it. Yep. Looking at your code, I think yeah, you're on track. Yep, I think we can do that. I would ask others to think about it a little more. I know it's too early to ask at this point, but maybe we can keep this as something to think about as we keep going with the class. Yeah, that's good. Nice food for thought. Very good. Thank you. Anything else, guys?
Did you say something, Professor?
I said, anything else you want us to talk about today before we finish today's class?
If you had an extremely large data set, say, I don't know, millions of individual pieces of data that was going to shift, would functional programming still be a viable option for that? I mean, short of something like a supercomputer with crazy amounts of memory.
Well, then that's going to why would you have that data set? Why would you not have this data in a file?
I guess it depends on what you're trying to use. Like, for instance, say you're, well, like your project, the idea for the virtual lab, if you want to stick with medical stuff, if you're looking at something like protein folding, it's extremely computationally intensive. And if you're looking at molecular structure of a lot of different proteins, you have a massive data set, potential ways that they can fold. Yeah, you could store that data in a file, but if you're trying to actually manipulate it, you need to be able to have that stuff in memory.
Yeah, and so you will need yeah, you have to have in a big memory, but then if you have to put them into different variables, you have to with functional well, on those situations, I think I would not do functional, or I would put them into different files and create different files. If you're doing a lot of computational with, genomics, and even in data science, when I do big computation, we die out of memory where, everything gets stored, the full data file, even if it's huge, it gets stored on your memory where you have to then get some those high performance computers where you have to do it. if that's the case, you have to use a high performance computer which has a lot of memory for you to compute. In fact, whenever you do something with Gene and all that, well, this virtual lab, it's not going to do any computation as such, but when you do something with really computation or in biology of that sort, you are tying up to a supercomputer, and where I mean not to a supercomputer, sorry, to a high computing server, and you are really putting them into files. You're computing, putting them into files, pushing the file away, putting them into another file, and that's what I do for my data science. When I do big computing, I have to do that. If I think that it's going to be a problem using functional paradigm, I won't use it, and that's why we are software engineers. We have to decide on the situation. If we have limited resources and we have to get it done in that, well, uh, I wouldn't do functional way of doing it. Does that help?
Yeah, it was just a generic question. It wasn't necessarily anything specific to a
Yeah,
project I'm working on or anything.
right. I know. I am just thinking, why would I do functional if I have to count as a software engineer, I have to keep an account of, I mean, I have to keep into account like what resources is available to me. So I would probably not do functional there. I would just go the way we do the imperative or the object oriented or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, the mutable thing. I would prefer calling it mutable. We'll do the mutable thing. Yeah, I would not. But I know when I do, memory is not a big deal these days. So when I'm doing this big neural networks and all that computation, there is a need for memory and CPU. So I do have things where I kind of have to hook onto the high computing, or I go into my laptop. I have done like where I had like, I can't remember the number, but it was not a million, but it was in 100,000 something of that size, and had 44 features into it, which was a big array. I would say 44 by columns, you could say, and rows were more than 100,000. I had to go change my configuration inside, like from the Java thing, you can change it. And so that there's much space, it allocates more space for my computation. Sometimes it will just hang depending on what kind of algorithm I'm using. So those situations, I would not do function. It doesn't need, I would not do that. Yeah. So, okay, so we'll see, here's interesting thought. Yeah, it is. It is. So I'm reading Sam's thought here. It is. Paradigm is functional programming is not today's. Let me tell you this, okay? So it has been for many years. It's so mathematical, and really everything else that we do programming so far is not that mathematical. Like object oriented is not mathematical. the reason we are getting into functional paradigm again now is because we know that we have the hardware. The hardware was not that freely available, and I can tell you, I have a book which was written in 1989, which talks about functional paradigm as a functional programming as a mathematical function. So it really was retrieved from mathematics, and where maybe memory was an issue then, but today no. Now CPU is an issue. The time that we get. So
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I definitely see the benefits to it. I was just kind of positing that thought. Like you can make some very pretty code with functional programming when used properly, properly rather. So I guess I see some advantages and disadvantages. I guess the biggest thing I could see is that I mean, if you can optimize in terms of computational complexity by using a functional paradigm at the cost of like increasing your memory footprint, very often that's a good trade-off to make depending on the application that you're trying to do. And
it
so
is. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was just a thought.
No, that is true. I mean, it's not that is what functional is for. You know, it is a memory hog. But if you can get your computation done much faster and you're really not worried about the memory, then that's go functional. Let's say you're worried about the memory. So let's say my iPhone now, if it has a lot of functional things in it, and I have a basic, whatever that version, first version of the iPhone that doesn't work, and that could be one reason that as these iOS, the different versions of iOS slows down our phone, because there is functional coding into it, because it makes it quicker. Yeah. And I know Apple was the one that told me, this was in 2018 when I went to Montreal for a conference on data mining, and they told me that, could you send students, but I was not teaching functional paradigm then, and they told me, would you send me students that have an idea of functional programming? I think I did that in my graduate school, but I've never taught it or anything. That's when it thought that, I should bring that in. And looks like today, people are, big companies are really looking forward. Not that you're going to do everything functional. Don't get me wrong. You're never going to do that. You don't want to do that because of computation, because of your memory issues. What about the small little kid? What about your phone, or what about your watch? How much memory can you add to it? But putting in snippets of functional, components, which is going to be reusable. I think where I draw a line is which I'm going to reuse several times, I'm going to do that functional.
Okay.
If I don't reuse it and this is just a one-time deal, who cares?
Okay.
Don't you think so?
That makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. So that's where, when you're writing for this class, you might be asked to write functional code because we are in the learning process. But for your real life, I would never say that. No. You have to decide as to, for your situation, well, what situation are you in? And then, like Gerald said in DOS with 640K, what function could I do there? Nothing. Yeah. So you have to decide on the situation, on for what platform are you programming? Are you programming for a watch? Are you programming for your Fitbit? Are you programming maybe, I don't know, maybe for your automation of your house where you cannot add in so much memory? A little bit of time is okay. I mean, you couldn't decide maybe what component should I be doing functional. Not everything you need not do everything functional. Only that's computational heavy, that is reusable. I mean, catch those things and you know, decide for yourself on the situation what part is going to be functional for your real life. That's what I'm talking about. But for this class, no, you're not doing that way because it's a learning class. Okay. And also when you do your programs, I just want to let you know that, you know, as you keep doing your program, you will, I will ask you to put in functional code as we go towards the end of this first 8 weeks. Okay, you have to show me some functional codes that you have incorporated in your project, and that will keep increasing as we go, as we keep going. Yes, Fernando, the REPL is really neat. I really like it. It is REPL is an interpreter, so anybody that used an interpreter earlier would really love it. I have used it, so I know how big of an advantage it is when you are writing really complicated code that you can just test that little thing that you want to write and not have to write the whole program and from start to end to test what you're doing and then go back and redo it. So, so it is an interpreter, and lot of programming languages have the interpreters these days. Okay, like the Mono, which I think Amer was using. The Mono is in Mac, which is an interpreter. The REPL is for the PCs. I think there's also Mono for the PCs, but I haven't you know, tried to, you know, play with that. Yeah, okay. Mono is very much available in Mac. Yeah, so Daryl gives me that it's on Windows and Linux. And I tried to use Mono one time, didn't work. I just forget it. I'm not wasting much time on it. I just get log into REPL.
It was terrible when they first created it, but it works pretty well now.
Yeah. So the question here is for assignment. Are we just including the .cs file for each of the problem prompted? Well, you can copy paste the code such that when I execute it, it runs. So let me have you choose how you want to. Yeah, you don't have to include the .cs file. You can copy paste the code so that, you know, I take that and if you did in REPL, that's a different story. But if you did it using the console, you don't need to put the main and all that. We know, we'll just copy paste that coding. And then if you will paste your output, so we know that you can take a screenshot of the output that you got and paste it in the Word doc. Okay, sure. So I do have so we're going to end the class today. I do have an exit poll, and we will be having exit polls and entry polls as we keep going, and as so that I know where to start, and then when I have the exit poll, I know where to start next year. And then when I have the entry poll, I know where, you know, what else needs to be covered. Okay. But I will tell you that, you know, I'm going to have these weeks open up. So if you will go over the PowerPoint and the recording and all that, I would appreciate it, so we could come to class and just work out examples instead of, and, you know, do other things instead of me going over those PowerPoint slides, which is, I think, a waste of time, just, you know, during class time, which you can do it offline. Okay, does that sound good? Okay, so yeah, so Sam has been prompting that everyone who isn't in the class Discord, please please join that. So why don't you put that on your discussion board? Oh, it is. Okay. Okay, so I'm launching this poll. So thank you, all of you. Please go ahead and get this poll done for me. It helps me. It helps you too, so that you know what to expect. And we'll go from there. So stay safe. Things are getting better, but does not mean that we are free to go anywhere we want. We still have to take all precautions. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you so much and have a good evening. And please get this poll done for me.
Dr.
Yeah, go
Um,
ahead, Patricia.
did I hear you right earlier when you mentioned about the our homeworks not necessarily being coded functional paradigm?
Yes. Don't have to be functional. We didn't do anything functional yet.
Okay.
We're just still talking. We're just making a prelude of functional. We're just trying to get you into that functional mode. Okay, we didn't get into the functional paradigm. So we know do just C# is good. It's really good
Okay.
enough. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.